Exactly. They train more.
So that's what I'm saying. So the guys now are definitely bigger for the as a whole, as an average, right? The top 10 guys. Because you had big guys back then too. You had Marcus Rules. You had guys that were gigantic. But
he's more 90s, yeah. I'm in the 80s too.
Yeah. Okay.
Marcus Rules was huge. I mean, that was a different.
Dorian changed the size.
Dorian changed the game forever.
Crazy.
And what was interesting about Dorian was so fascinating because here's this guy.
The Shadow,
because he lived in England. Right?
Put a picture of Dorian Yates if you can.
Here's this guy. Here's this English white guy from England that showed Dorian Yates, and he had this training style where he only trained 3 days a week for 45 minutes and only did like 6 sets in a workout. And when you saw him, he was the first 300-pound bodybuilder really with abs. Like I was there in Hofstra at the Atlantic States when he guest posed.
Jesus
that black
Christ,
and white picture changed bodybuilding. Those black and whites right there that you
from
see.
The dungeon.
Yeah.
So he used to, so people, like we were saying, you didn't have social media at all. Internet, I don't think even existed back then. Or
yeah,
it
so
was like,
you were a bodybuilder or there wasn't
all you saw
MMA.
These guys was on, was show day.
Yeah, and honestly, I remember there was no way of even finding out who won. I had a call I lied to Wayne DeMille, the promoter of the show, and just said I was his brother, couldn't tell, to get him on the phone to find out who won. You couldn't find out. There's no internet. There was no way to find out who won the Olympia. You had to go to the magazine. Was published the next month.
Unbelievable.
So I remember my buddy and I would find out different ways to get a hold of the promoter to find out who won the show. It was just nuts. But Dorian, that's black and white.
So he brought the size that had never been seen in bodybuilding before. It was always big guys. But Dorian came back. What was the year when he came back? In 93?
1992, he won the Olympia. He lost to Lee Haney in 1991. It was very close. Lee Haney was an 8-time Mr. Olympia, 7. Going into that, he won. And he did win. He beat Dorian. It was close. But that was the best, probably, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, the best bodybuilder that's ever stepped on stage. That 1993 last spread of Dorian.
So then Dorian went back and they called him the Shadow. He went to
England.
Yeah, he went back to England where he lived. He trained in the dungeon base. What's the name of that gym he trains at? Temple gym, in that basement dungy ass gym, and just went to work. And he came back the next year and he emerged from the shadows
and blew everybody away.
Nobody had ever seen a physique like this before.
Ever.
He was gigantic and hard as granite. And from that point on, it's widely said that Dorian literally changed the trajectory of bodybuilding forever. Because at that point, if you didn't have that kind of size, you weren't going to compete. So and everybody started playing the size game.
And John, he clearly won. But Flex Wheeler in 1993 was phenomenal. If you pull up Flex Wheeler in 1993 was probably his best. He won the Arnold Classic. He was amazing. That's an older shot of Flex. But if the sport would have chose Flex's symmetry and pleasing physique, it might have gone a different direction.
100%. I mean, I personally think, in my opinion, I think Flex Wheeler, there's that one shot of him when he has his head down and his hands out to the side.
It's phenomenal. But the one thing about Dorian, John,
right there. So you see that shot right there?
That's a little bit later, too. That one to the right is him young. That top right, that's a young Flex.
I like bold Flex.
They're
Go
different.
down a little bit so you get a full body. Okay, right? You see the middle of the screen toward the bottom now? Down 2? Right there. That shot of Flex Wheeler, in my opinion, is the greatest bodybuilding physique in history. It looks like a cartoon.
You look at his abs, his arms,
what the fuck is that? Everything's so round. That's unfucking real.
Flex Wheeler's probably...
He has the best genetics ever.
Yeah, I agree. He didn't have the best work ethic.
I mean,
Dorian Yates would even say it. If Flex had my mindset and my work
he would have killed
ethic,
him.
Who knows? He would never say he beat me. He was doing not his way, but he would say, "Who knows what would have happened?" Flex Wheeler is amazing, no question.
It's unbelievable. It's like it doesn't even. I mean, obviously, all those guys look unreal.
That was 1993 right there. That third picture in. Look at the detail in his back. He was 222 pounds.
Jesus,
I mean, that's blown up. Look at how round. Look at the insertions. Look at how round he. I mean, he's the epitome. His build. Honestly, it's hard to say as a guy, but he's beautiful. Look at his build. You know what I mean?
The physique is beautiful. It's absolutely surreal. It doesn't even look real.
Unbelievable, man.
You can't picture. That's my point.
But then there was Dorian that you caught the most massive freak of nature you ever see.
A harder look.
It was two perfect storms. That's the sultan of the symmetry.
Yeah.
Versus the ultimate mass monster, the first true, and Dorian, unless you see him in person, Flex will always look better in any picture we see than Dorian. But if you see him, Dorian had a 3-dimensional look, the depth of his, unless you see in person, you'll never understand who Dorian was. When he turned side, when he walked out, the first reaction was this. What the hell was that? Is he wearing a suit? Is that a muscle suit? Like, it was that.
Yeah, people still talk about that. Like, there was literally a gasp in the room when he came out the first time.
I was there. It was a gasp. We looked and I couldn't believe what the hell am I looking at?
No one ever seen anything before like that.
No.